everyone, welcome back to Coasters and Places, and I am excited to do another plus size guide to theme parks series video, and this one will be on SeaWorld Orlando. I don't have any other videos currently on any SeaWorld park, so this will be the first one, but if there is interest I can definitely do San Antonio and San Diego. I have been to both of those. And I've also done all the Disney parks, including the water parks, and I've done the theme parks at the Universal Orlando Resort and Busch Gardens Tampa. If you are interested, all those videos can be found in my plus size riders playlist on my channel. And while you're on my channel here, go ahead and give me a subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Helps me create more videos like this, and these types of videos do take a while to create, just talking about each individual ride, making sure that I do have all my facts and information correct as well before telling you all about it. So as a plus size rider, you may be hesitant on going to a theme park, worrying how you're going to fit in a ride. Those feelings are completely normal. My purpose of this video is to let you know how you as a plus size person may fit on the rides at SeaWorld Orlando. I'm going to go through every single ride they have. I will not talk about Discovery Cove or Aquatica. If there is any interest in Aquatica in particular, I can do that in another video. Just let me know in the comments down below. And the last time I visited SeaWorld Orlando, I was about 285 pounds. I am 5'6". I carry most of my weight in my stomach area, some in my hips and thighs. A lot of it in my stomach though, not really in my chest area or calves area. So just to give you an idea of where I carry my weight. Waist measurement, I'm going to say is in the 50s. Hips would have been like lower 50s. My chest measurement's definitely in the lower 40s though, to give you a reference on measurements. So I'm going to just go ahead and let you know that every theme park, no matter where you go to, is going to have something that you can do. And SeaWorld's a great park to go to because there's a ton of animal exhibits to look at as well, so you won't be bored. There'll be something for you to do, and there's always at least one ride. Usually many, and usually even a roller coaster that as a plus size person you will be able to ride. So SeaWorld is going to be a great park because of all the animal exhibits to go to as a plus size person if you are worried about the rides being able to fit. But yeah, this video we're going to start talking about the roller coasters and then move on to the other rides. So let's go ahead and get started with the roller coasters. Pipeline the Surf Coaster is one of the newest coasters at Busch Gardens Tampa. First and foremost, it has a test seat out front. Please, if any ride has a test seat, check it before getting in line for the ride just to make sure you can fit before waiting in a long line and then learning, hey, you can't fit. So with that being said, check the test seat, but it is like a stand-up coaster. With that, with an over-shoulder restraint, for me personally, I was not able to ride because of my large stomach. I find it pretty uncomfortable to stand up on a stand-up coaster personally anyways. I've never been a big fan of those types of coasters, but it was just because I couldn't really get the restraint all the way down on my stomach, and that's why I was unable to ride. So I think honestly, because of the style of it being a stand-up, I think a big stomach is really going to be the biggest issue with this restraint type. So again, check out the test seat, and if you have a bigger stomach, it may potentially cause some issues. Icebreaker I found to be very accommodating. I had no issues whatsoever fitting in this. The seats were accommodating and I even had room to spare. Even though it does have like belts that come over the shoulder, even if you do have a bigger chest area, you shouldn't have an issue because it's flexible and can move versus being rigid and hard. I mean, if you're super big, this restraint could possibly cause some issues, but for most guests, even plus size, I don't really see a lot of issues on Icebreaker, and there is also a test seat for you to try. Manta has a test seat out front, and according to Busch Gardens accessibility guide and information, people that have a chest measurement of 52 inches or larger could possibly have issues on Manta. So I was able to fit in Manta with some help from the ride operators. However, it was very snug. If I would have weighed any bigger, I probably would not have fit on Manta, because of my larger stomach was what was causing me the biggest issue. If you do have bigger hips, you could possibly have an issue, or that bigger chest area or bigger stomach. I could see some issues with Manta for sure. The restraints are very unique, so definitely check out the test seat out front before you wait in line to ride. And yeah, as I said, I was barely able to fit, so honestly, if I was any bigger, I would not have been able to ride. Mako has a test seat that you can try, and it has a restraint that comes down and actually hits on your thighs. So if you have a bigger upper area, not really going to be a problem. The problem here is your thighs. Also, if you have a bigger hips, you might not be able to sit all the way back in the seat. And that, if you find that an issue, what I do is I try to tilt my hips up, if that makes any sense, so I can still get all the way as far back in the seat as I can. So I have to have help from the ride operators, but I can ride this. It is snug. Once you start going up the lift hill, though, your gravity kind of pushes you down into the seat and the force of the ride, so it doesn't feel as snug as when you first actually are sitting in the station waiting for the train to actually go. But definitely try the test seat out. I think bigger thighs is really going to be the biggest issue here. Kraken has a test seat, and it also has some seats that are modified for bigger riders. So they have a slightly longer seat belt. If you think you may need that, definitely ask for it when you go up to get in line for the ride at the ride platform, and they will direct you to where those seats are. It's an over-the-shoulder style restraint with buckles that come up in between your legs. The modified seat should have red seat belts if they have not changed it since I have been on it. But that's how it should still be. That's how it typically is for these type of coasters, that particular style of restraint. So if you do have a bigger chest, you could potentially have some issues with Kraken, bigger stomach, perhaps even bigger hips, like getting all the way back in the seat, and they're not the widest seat. I did fit in the modified, not in the regular. It was a little tight, not overly tight like Mako or Manta, but it was still tight on Kraken, but I did fit. Maybe another 10-20 pounds I wouldn't have fit, I think. But yeah, definitely use that test seat and ask for the bigger seating if you need it. Penguin Trek has a test seat out front, so it'll just have a lap bar that comes down with a red light, green light system. However, it has to come down pretty far, and the seats themselves are actually pretty narrow. This was a no-go for me, unfortunately. If you do have wide hips, bigger thighs, or a large stomach, Penguin Trek may give you some issues. This is a family coaster, and it's definitely built with smaller seats, you can tell, so it may be problematic for plus-size riders. This is Journey to Atlantis. It just has a lap bar that comes down to your level of comfort. It is pretty accommodating. If you have a super large stomach, you may have some issues, but most people are not going to have any issues fitting on Journey to Atlantis. Infinity Falls is one of those round family style raft rides. So the seat belts, I do believe they are like shared seat belts between the seat next to you. They may not be. They may actually be double seat belts, but either way, if they are shared, just ask to keep the seat next to you open. But if they're not shared, they would be a double seat belt, so they'd be like super long and accommodating. Honestly, most everybody should be able to fit on Infinity Falls with no issues. The Sky Tower is going to be accommodating to anybody, no matter your weight or size or how big you are. The same can be said for the Flamingo paddle boats. The only thing about the paddle boats is that they are an upcharge attraction. So you just have to pay extra for them, but they are very accommodating. Shouldn't be a problem there either. So this is the new for 2025 edition Expedition Odyssey. Expedition Odyssey has not opened yet as the making of this video. However, it is a Soarin' type ride, and it should be a lot like Soarin' at Disney. And also these type rides have popped up in like some tourist areas as well. They should be very accommodating. They all are, so this one should be no exception to that rule. If anything, the seats may be a little bit narrow, but you can definitely smush into them, no issue. I don't really anticipate plus size guests having an issue with Expedition Odyssey. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the kids section, Sesame Street Land. So these rides are all designed for kids. It doesn't mean that us adults can't ride it, but just keep in mind that they are designed for kids first and foremost. So first off, this is called Cookie Drop. This is a very tight ride. It's a mini like up and down drop tower. As a plus size person, I can't fit in this. Honestly, it's really meant for kids, and as an adult, you'd have to be a smaller adult. If you are plus size, this is more than likely going to be a no-go. This is Super Grover's Boxcar Derby. This is the kids/family coaster in Sesame Street Land. So this has a lap bar that comes down. Adults can ride it. I actually fit in it. So it's pretty accommodating, just really comes down to your level of comfort. If you are exceptionally large, maybe you wouldn't be able to fit in this. But for the most part, you should be able to fit in this just fine, even next to a small child. If you're next to another adult, maybe not, but definitely next to a small child, for sure. This is Slimy Sliders, so it has a lap bar that goes all the way across. It comes down to the largest person in the row. The little door opening to it is very narrow, but you should be able to like kind of step over it and squeeze in. The only thing I would say is if you're really large, it could be uncomfortable, or if you're tall, just to fit in the seat. And also, since it comes down to the level of the biggest person in the row, smaller children in the row may feel a little insecure if it's a big difference between you and smaller children if they are in the row. That's really the only thing about Slimy Sliders, just to be mindful of. Alright, so these two rides, one's called Abby's Flower Tower, and the other one is called Big Bird's Twirl and Whirl. They both have very similar like ride vehicles, so there's like a center table in the middle kind of, or like a center thing in the middle of each, so you just sit around it. The little door opening to both can be narrow, but other than that, they're both pretty accommodating once you're in the ride vehicle. Shouldn't be really an issue there. As a plus size person, maybe if you have a super big stomach, but I've seen a lot of big people ride this, and I've rode both of these no issue, and rides like it. So for most people, there shouldn't really be a problem. Elmo's Choo Choo Train is something that plus size guests can definitely ride with their children. Shouldn't be any issues, honestly. The opening can be a little narrow to get in there, but honestly, you shouldn't have any problem riding with your children on an Elmo's Choo Choo Train. The Sunny Day Carousel is also accessible to plus size guests. They do have benches that you can sit on if that makes you more comfortable than like riding on an actual horse would be. But I don't see any limitations anywhere that have like a weight limit for the carousel horses or anything. So as long as you feel like you can get up on the horse and can fit on the horse, I would think you'd be able to ride on the actual horse if you wanted to. If not, the bench is definitely an option, or standing next to your child while they're on the horse as well would be an option. The last two attractions at SeaWorld Orlando are going to be the Rubber Ducky Waterworks, which is a water play area, and Rosita's Harmony Hills, which is a regular play area. These are both designed for kids. However, if you are a plus size adult or person, this is going to have no issues on you whatsoever if you are accompanying your child to do it, but it is designed to be for kids. But if you're accompanying your child, you should have no issue. So with that, that concludes all the rides at SeaWorld Orlando, going over them for plus size riders. Hopefully you found this video helpful and interesting. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe to my channel for more great video content, and check out my other plus size videos in the plus size riders playlist that I have on my channel. I greatly appreciate your support. And just some closing remarks, I'd like to say that no matter what your size is, you can still and will have a great time at SeaWorld Orlando. They have a ton of animal exhibits, animal shows that can take up a lot of your day, honestly. Just looking at them, it's well worth it. It's a very beautiful park, and even with that being said, you will definitely at least be able to ride some rides as a plus size person, maybe even a coaster. Definitely check out Icebreaker for the best luck on a coaster, or Journey to Atlantis. So yeah, hopefully this helped, and thank you so much for watching.